So James, you're in first year.
Yeah.
So when you were in primary school, was there much focus on science or was not so much?
There was quite a bit of focus when I was in primary school on science. During 5th and 6th class, we had a scientist of the week where each week pupil would bring in a science experiment or a presentation. And at the end of the year, we had a science fair where all the parents came in to see all the students' work and presentations.
Oh, great, very good. And we know from research and the way things are going, we're going to need more and more people in Ireland that are in science and technology careers and have studied those subjects. So what do you think we can do to make those careers more attractive?
To invest more equipment and more money in primary schools, and to promote science and to encourage kids from a young age to take a path in science.
And when you're looking at subjects, or maybe even in a year or two, considering what you might like to study further or what you might like to work at, is it your parents, is it your teachers, is it other students that really influence you?
Teachers would influence me more because on the opening day of Tullamore College, when they were touring us through the science labs, I became really interested in taking science.
You're in first year now, so when you were in primary school, was there much focus on science? Or
When I was in primary school, my teacher didn't really focus on science that much. We'd only do it about once in 2 weeks, maybe less. And the only thing she focused on was the human body.
Okay, so now you're in secondary, you're going to be having chemistry and physics and all of that's going to be much more. So when you're thinking about maybe future career and subjects and all of that, is it your parents or your teachers that maybe make you think about it in a different way, or who influences you?
The teachers here at Tullamore College influenced me more because at the open nights and the sampling week, I got to see really nice experiments and projects, and I was really interested, so I picked science.
Great, okay. And more people in Ireland are probably going to need to be in science and technology, just that's the way things are going. So what do you think we can do to make sure that more people consider those type of careers?
To ensure that there'd be future scientists in Ireland, the teachers could be proactive towards students and help them and encourage them and see what jobs they might have in the future and life skills they might have from projects and science experiments.
Hi Jane.
Hi.
Thanks very much for talking to us today. I was just wondering, are you interested in studying science when you leave school and go on to third level?
Yeah, I've always been really interested in studying science in school, and it's something I'm really passionate about. So definitely I'd like to study science when I go to college. I'd like to study probably medicine when I leave because it's something I'm really interested in. I've always wanted to do it, and I'm fascinated by the anatomy of the human body and how it works. I love biology and I love helping people as well, so that's why I'd like to go into it.
You've probably answered my next question then, which is what would you like to do when you leave school? So it's medicine for you,
Yeah,
really.
I'd like to become a paediatrician or a surgeon, and I'd like to probably specialise in neurosurgery or plastic surgery because it's a really rewarding job where you get to save lives, so that's probably why I'd like to do it.
Okay, you've got your mind well made up, it's fantastic. And is there a big focus on this in science here in this school?
Yeah,
Tullamore College?
We have amazing teachers who really focus in on science, and they help all students to do their best in exams, and they really encourage us to participate in science competitions throughout the year. And I feel like doing these science competitions really takes science outside the classroom, and it presents a more interactive way of learning, and I feel like this is my favourite way of learning, so that's why I love doing it.
Do you think that science is a difficult subject?
I think that most people will find some topics easy and some topics hard, depending on if they're interested in it or not. But I think the language of science is quite intimidating for some people, and I think that puts people off learning it.
Yeah, and so you think that's one of the things that puts people off, maybe looking at science subjects or science careers? Is there anything else maybe that makes people think they don't want to get involved in science?
I think they think it's really, really complicated, and it's not really. If you try and understand it, it's not that complicated.
And would you like in the future to maybe work in a science-related job yourself? Or is that something you've considered?
Yeah, I'd love to be a physiotherapist.
Oh, okay.
Because I really like biology and I like working with people. And my mum's a nurse, so I'm really interested in medicine. And I think physiotherapy would be a very varied job. You'd have new challenges every day.
Do you think that science is a difficult subject?
In my opinion, no. I don't find science a difficult subject. It's like everything else in this world. If we work at it hard, we will succeed. And as Einstein said, science is merely just a refinement of everyday thinking.
That's a really good way to look at it. And what do you think makes a difference if a student decides whether or not they're going to study science or they like science?
Yeah, the difference, in my opinion, would be between liking and disliking a subject. It merely comes down to the person, in fact. Like students are most likely going to enjoy science if the class is, if the objective of the class is to gain good knowledge and practical skills that can be understood and applied in everyday life. But also saying that students who are at a disadvantage, like some schools wouldn't have like facilities to do practical work, so they're just mainly academic, and they'd be at a disadvantage and wouldn't have the same enjoyment towards science as most other schools would. But saying that students willing to study science would have to have a passion in science. Also, the teachers would have a passion in science to teach it. Like,
And would you like to work in a science-related job yourself in the future?
I would love to work in a science-related job in the future, mainly in the biological side of things. I could maybe down the forensic side or pathology, one of them. Also, it's science itself is like a constant state of discovery, which I love. And in fact, to me, I see it as a never-ending puzzle that we can continue to solve over and over. So it's great.
Great. So Tony, thanks for chatting to us today. Are you planning yourself to study science?
Yeah, I think I will study science at third level. It's been a huge interest of mine since I was a child, so it just makes sense to do third level. Hopefully, it makes third level more enjoyable.
Great. And what do you think are the benefits of like pursuing a career in science or doing a science-related course?
Well, first of all, there's countless job opportunities open up, like good, well-paying jobs that I would personally find enjoyable. So I think it only makes sense to pursue a science-related job.
And what type of career yourself are you considering? Is
I'm
there
not
any particular
fully
area?
sure yet. I'm thinking of going toward like pharmaceuticals or like trying to help people, you know.
Great. Are you interested yourself in studying science at third level?
Yes, I'm very interested in studying science at third level. Science is my favourite subject at junior cert, as I found the course very interesting. I also like how science is so unbiased and logical, so that I can always find a solution to my problems. I like testing ideas and experiments in science, as it allows me to be creative and forces me to think outside the box.
Great. And what type of job do you think you'd like to get in the future?
I'm not quite sure what job I'd like, but I'd definitely like it to be in the field of science. I like how the world of science is so wide and varied, so I think a job in science would be exciting. I like how science can be used to help people, so maybe I'd like to become a doctor or pharmacist, something like that.
Okay, and we're always hearing that we need more and more people in science and technology studies. And what do you think could be done, like, you know, in schools and by government and so on, to try and influence more people to maybe consider studying science?
Yeah, I definitely think the government needs to relate science more to students' everyday lives and interests. For example, with science competitions, which allows them to test their own hypothesis. I definitely think there's a stigma surrounding science, that it's very difficult and only very smart people can do it. I think this is untrue, and the government should try and counteract this by adding more material to the junior cert and leaving cert curriculum, which focuses on students' like interests, and also by increasing their knowledge of what sort of jobs are related to science, what these jobs entail, and what the science jobs of the future will be like.
So are you interested yourself at studying science in third level?
I hope to study science at third level because I'm fascinated by things that can be achieved through the study of science, from the exploration of space to cure seemingly incurable diseases to how the universe began. I can't imagine studying anything else as exciting or fulfilling as science.
Okay, great. What type of job do you think you'd like to have in the future?
I'm not exactly sure what I'd like to do in the future, but I am sure I want to be at the cutting edge of science. Maybe working for a big company like NASA or CERN, or some big research institute studying the latest technology like artificial intelligence or quantum computing. I think these technologies will have a profound impact on our lives in the future.
Absolutely, and we're always told that we need more and more scientists, more and more engineers, more people in technology. So what do you think can be done, like, to encourage more people to get into science studies?
I definitely think a reduction in the cost of studying third level science or engineering would be a major benefit or encouragement to students in studying science, because your course will be at least 3 to 4 years if you do choose to follow the path of science or engineering, and this can be a heavy burden to try pay off then once you come out of college.
Absolutely.
To do this, you could maybe give grants to those who wouldn't be able to afford to go to college otherwise, who still want to study science or engineering, or possibly scholarships to students who are high achieving in science or engineering. And then jobs, look for new jobs once they do come out of college. So we need to keep attracting international companies to our shores that in like the technology, pharmaceutical, research and development sectors, to keep making jobs available and keep our students in Ireland and not emigrating abroad.
Absolutely.
And I don't think a reduction in the points would be of much benefit to encouragement to students coming in to college to choose science or engineering, because it would only really lower the standard and it wouldn't encourage high achieving students to keep going into that course. But more places are definitely needed in college.
Okay.